Part 1. You will hear a conversation between a woman clerk and a customer at a cell phone store. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Good morning. What can I help you with today?
Well, I've just moved here, and I need to get a new cell phone number.
Okay, we've got both prepaid plans and 24-month contract plans.
I'll only be here for a year, so I think a prepaid plan is better. Can you tell me something about those?
Of course. We've got a number of different plans. But first of all, I should just mention that none of them come with handsets. You'll just be buying a SIM card, and you can replace the one in your old phone.
Yes, that's perfect. So how much are the SIM cards?
Well, the expense isn't really in the card. To use it, you'll need to set up a plan, and that can range from just over $10 a month upwards. The card itself is just $2, and that gives you about 15 minutes of local calls.
Okay. I knew I'd need a new plan from you guys, but I don't have much money at the moment. Can you tell me about the cheaper plans?
Yes. Our least expensive is the minimal plan. That's only $12 a month.
That's good.
But it's for someone who doesn't use their phone very much. You only get 40 minutes a month of talking time.
Ah. How about internet access with that one?
No, sorry, that's not included.
No, that plan's not for me. I'll definitely need to go online.
For browsing the net? Or for things like Facebook and WeChat?
Mostly social media. It's how I keep in touch with people back home.
Well, we do have what we call a social plan. That might really suit you. You get unlimited data on social media websites.
That sounds great. How much is that one?
That's $40 a month. But you get 200 minutes of talking time, 500 texts and 2 gigabytes of data, which is about 15 hours of watching videos and thousands of photo uploads.
Well, I do upload lots of photos for my friends back home, so that's fine. But I'm worried that I'll need more text than that. Do you have any plans with unlimited texting?
Well, there is one other plan. On that one, you choose 5 people or 5 phone numbers, and you can talk to or text them as much as you want. That's called the Friends and Family plan.
Okay. That sounds like the one for me. What's the catch?
Well, it's not exactly cheap. That plan costs $70 a month, but it does come with 3 gigabytes and unlimited texts, as well as your 5 designated people.
That's a bit too pricey for me, but I do like it. Can I choose a cheaper plan now and change after I find a job?
Oh yes, you can just come in and let us know whenever you like. It's also possible to log into our website and manage your account yourself online.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Okay. I think the social media plan is the best option for the time being.
Great. So we'll set you up today. We'll just fill in this sales form. Here's your new SIM card. I'll just need to record the number for you. Can you read me that number on the top left-hand side of the card? It's your new phone number.
Yes. It's 047-877-9233.
Okay, I got it. So remember, that's your new number, so you should write it down as well so you can inform your contacts. Hold on to this package that the SIM comes in. There's information on that about how to contact us, just in case your phone gets lost or something like that.
Oh, yes, that's important.
So next, I'll need your name.
Sure. It's Stephen. That's Stephen with a V. and my surname is Conway. That's Conway.
Okay, that's cool. And your address, please?
Well, at the moment, I'm living in temporary accommodation. Once I've found work, I'll be moving to a different place. Do you think that matters?
Well, not really for now. But please let us know when you get a permanent address, okay?
Yes, fine. So I'll give you my current address for now, then. It's 375 Thompson Avenue.
Is that spelled Thompson?
Yes, that's right. It's in Green Park.
Ah, yes, okay. So the total for today is $42.50. That's the SIM card and the first month's plan.
So just to confirm, I'll be able to get the SIM card today and start using it immediately?
Yep, you've got the SIM card already.
Oh, yeah, right, sorry. Now let me see if I have enough cash. 10, 20, 30... No, it doesn't look like I have enough. I guess I'll have to put it on my credit card. Here you are.
No problem. Just a moment. So just sign here, please. Now, do you want help putting the SIM card into your phone?
That is the end of part 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to part 2. Part 2.
You will hear an introduction about sports matches. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary White, the Secretary of the exciting sports club. Welcome to attend Match's arrangement meeting. I know you are looking forward to a great season. Now, I'd like to give you a short introduction to our arrangement in this season. This season, we still have 2 competitions. One is tennis and the other is soccer. Let's start with tennis. There will be 6 teams competition. We hope the players' ages are between 16 and 22 years old. While the number of soccer teams is only 4 in this season, because we hope all players' ages are no more than 20 years old. Now, in this new season there are some changes. The first one is the venue. We will arrange all our matches for both the tennis and soccer competitions in Magic Park instead of Darry Park, which was used last year. Tennis matches will be arranged on Court 2 and Court 4 will hold soccer matches. Our match schedule: all tennis matches will be played on Sunday afternoons. All matches will begin at 2 o'clock. Soccer matches in this season will be played at 7 o'clock on Saturday evenings. The joining fee is still £30, including a new sport gear. We still offer a week of training session before formal match for our new players. There are 2 training sessions at 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on next Friday and Saturday afternoon. The fee is only £12. Now, I'd like to introduce the coach of each training session, George Hanson, who has been supervised the tennis teams for over 4 years, will still be coach this season. while we will invite a good soccer coach who has enough patience and professional skills to work as this season's soccer coach. His name is Paul Batt. Now, look at questions 18 to 20. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 18 to 20. In addition, we offer some activities to thank all players. Please look at your brochure. There are some activities and their time arrangements. At the beginning, we hope to start the season with a barbecue dinner on next Saturday in Magic Park. I do really hope all players will go there to enjoy the dinner, and you may invite your relatives and friends. Of course, they have to pay a little fee, with just £5. And then, after the final match in the season, we will vote this season's MVP, the most valuable player. The 2 players from tennis team and soccer team will gain an honour and a prize from our sports centre. This season we hope all players can send a confirm letter to us to ensure our match arrangement. So please write to us before the deadline. It is on Thursday, 18th of April. Our secretary, David Black, is in charge of collecting fees and your letters in this season. His room number is 214 and his phone is 332567.
That is the end of part 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to part 3. Part 3.
You will hear a university tutor and his seminar group of 3 students discussing their extended essays. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
This semester we will continue our seminars on agriculture. Today, like last semester, we are in the McLeod room, but this will change. Next week we are going to the Hardy room on the 2nd floor, and we will remain there for the duration of the semester. Also, we will have to change the time as the Hardy room is not available at our usual time of 3 o'clock, so we'll need to start 1 hour later. Is that okay with everyone?
I've got a problem with that. I have a part-time job in a restaurant in town, and finishing an hour later will stop me being on time.
Well, Maggie, there are other seminar times for this particular subject, but you'll need to get someone to swap with you, as they're all full. Come by my office tomorrow lunchtime and I'll show you the list. We should find someone willing to change.
What if we can't, though?
Well, you'll have to decide what's more important for you, the degree or the job. You know that attendance is compulsory at the seminars, and you haven't got a very good attendance record anyway.
I'll sort something out, I suppose.
Professor Cameron, when do we find out about the extended essay for this semester?
Today, actually, Guy. We'll look at everything in a minute.
Oh, thanks.
What about last semester's extended essay?
Well, Monica, all your extended essays are now with the external examiner, getting their second assessment. I completed the marking in early January, and the external examiner should get them back to me by mid-February.
Mid-February? For 3 essays?
It's not just your essays, Maggie. There are 3 of you in this seminar group, but I have 5 other seminar groups on this subject in your year, and they have 4 students in each. That makes 19 extended essays that I and the external examiner have to mark.
How did we do, Prof?
With one notable exception, the essays were of a pretty good standard. I can't say more than that at this stage, but I was very happy.
You now have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 26 to 30.
So, moving on to talk about the extended essay. What do you want to know about?
First of all, what do we have to write about?
Next week, I'll bring in a list of titles which will relate to the first 10 seminars that we have this semester. You have to choose one title from 10 titles on offer, but you might want to think about choosing from the first 5 so that you'll have more post-seminar time to prepare.
What about the deadline?
I'm afraid it's not the 26th of May as we advertised at the start of the academic year, as that's a bank holiday. It's now the next day, the 27th. No extensions. We won't accept the 28th.
Can we let you see our work before we hand it in?
Yes, though we have a deadline for that too, in order to encourage you to get organised and started early. So we will continue to look at drafts until the last day of April, and then after that, you're on your own to produce your final product.
What's the word limit, Professor?
Well, we want to have an upper and lower limit, so we've set the lower limit of 3,000 words and an upper one of 3,500. You'll have to be in that range.
Will we need to do any research for the essay?
I'm not really supposed to give you any details of the questions yet, but yes, there is a research component for all of the questions.
Will the research be survey-based or done on the farm or in greenhouses?
The research that we want you to do will be practical work with plants, so it will be down at the university facilities, either at the university farm or the greenhouses, as you said.
What type of plants will we be studying?
Well, the type of plant that you do your research on will depend on the question you choose, and I can't tell you any more about the questions yet.
Will we have any help with the growing procedures?
A little. The farm staff and Dr. Johns will be on hand to help you at the farm, and Rob down at the greenhouse complex can assist you with everything down there. Well, that will do for now. You can hang on until next week to get started. Today we're going to look at...
That is the end of part 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to part 4. Part 4.
You will hear a lecture about the cultural insights into American society. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Many typically American characteristics, individualism, self-reliance, informality, punctuality, and directness are a result of those values mentioned earlier. Other national traits could also be identified, however. 1. Americans cooperate. Although often competitive, Americans also have a good sense of teamwork and cooperate with others to achieve a goal. 2. Americans are friendly, but in their own way. In general, friendships among Americans tend to be shorter and more casual than friendships among people from other cultures. This has something to do with American mobility and the fact that Americans do not like to be dependent on other people. Americans also tend to compartmentalize friendships, having friends at work, family friends, friends on the softball team, etc. 3. Americans ask a lot of questions, some of which may to you seem pointless, uninformed, or elementary. Someone you have just met may ask you very personal questions. No impertinence is intended. The questions usually grow out of a genuine interest. 4. Americans tend to be internationally naive. Many Americans are not very knowledgeable about international geography or world affairs. They may ask uninformed questions about current events and may display ignorance of world geography. Because the US is not surrounded by many other nations, some Americans tend to ignore the world. 5. Silence makes Americans nervous. Americans are not comfortable with silence. They would rather talk about the weather than deal with silence in a conversation. 6. Americans are open and usually eager to explain. If you do not understand certain behavior or want to know what makes Americans tick, do not hesitate to ask questions. Just as values and traits differ somewhat from one culture to another, so do the personal habits associated with good manners and courtesy. While very often there does not seem to be any particular reason why a particular way of doing something is considered good manners, observing these cultural rules will make Americans more comfortable with you, and therefore you with them. It is, of course, impossible to cover all the possibilities here. If you are unsure in a situation, just ask. Americans like to be helpful. 1. Queuing up or lining up is essential. Courtesy requires that you do not push from behind, stand next to the person being helped, or cut into a line. If you should accidentally bump someone, you should say, "Excuse me." 2. Americans blow their noses into a tissue. Spitting, clearing phlegm, or sniffing as from a cold are considered rude. 3. It is considered poor manners to slurp, chew noisily, or open your mouth while chewing. 4. Questions are seen as a good way of getting acquainted, but questions about a person's age, financial affairs, cost of clothing or personal belongings, religious affiliations and sex life are considered too personal for questioning, except between very close friends. 5. Men generally do not hold hands or link arms in public with other men. This is somewhat more acceptable between women and quite common between men and women. Now, a few words about personal safety. Unfortunately, in the US one must be aware of crimes. It is wise to be especially careful until you are familiar with the community in which you live. Remember that good judgment and common sense can significantly reduce chances of having an unpleasant and perhaps harmful experience. Basic safety rules include the following. 1. Do not walk alone at night. 2. When you leave your room, apartment, or automobile, make sure that all doors are locked and all windows are secured. 3. Do not carry too much cash or wear jewellery of great value. 4. Never accept a ride from a stranger. Do not hitchhike and do not pick up hitchhikers. 5. Be careful of purses and wallets, especially in crowded metropolitan areas, where there may be purse snatchers and pickpockets. 6. If a robber threatens you, at home or on the street, try not to resist unless you feel that your life is in danger and you must fight or run away. Give up your valuables as calmly as you can, and observe as much as possible about the robber to tell the police when you report the crime. A final note. Keep an open mind. Don't judge what you see as right or wrong, but make it a challenge to try to understand the variety of American behaviours which you may observe. You certainly do not have to participate in something you disagree with, but you can try to understand it. This will help you build an attitude of intelligent and liberated respect for cultures, both your own and others.
That is the end of Part 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers.